Hey y'all, we are back with another recap of The Bachelor. This is episode 3 with none other than Grant as The Bachelor. And this week there are 14 women remaining. There will be 2 one-on-one dates, 1 group date, and let's find out who jumped off a building with Grant and who was sent home. Okay, so this week's episode started off with the group date, and there were 12 girls on the date. And basically, since Grant, after playing basketball, he moved into the finance world, I believe he's a day trader. They decided to have the Bachelor School of Finance as their group date. And on this date, they asked them different questions about like financial terms. I think they asked like, what is an ATM or what does ATM mean? And they also asked them like, when was their last time their card got declined, credit card got declined, how much should they spend on a ring, and things of that nature. So it was just like a fun little date for the girls to kind of see where their head is at when it comes to finances. One of the hosts of the Bachelor School of Finance was a comedian. I didn't catch her name, but Bailey kind of caught on like, oh, they're giving Grant bucks to the women who kind of have like the most fun and not necessarily be the most serious with their answers. So they also got in this like money machine booth thingy, and they collected all these Grant bucks. So the person who had the most Grant bucks at the end of the date was considered the winner of that particular portion of the date, and that ended up being Bailey. So when it came to the nightcap of the date, Bailey was able to choose from a menu. It was things like get a t-shirt for him, like to sleep in his t-shirt, have dessert, like different things like that. You use your money to buy a date with Grant. And it's like, okay, Grant, you already here. We're going to date you anyway, but sure, I'll play along. Um, so yeah, Bailey, those are actually the two things that she ended up cashing out on. She got his t-shirt, and she also was able to share dessert with him when it came time for the after date portion. Parisa decided that she wanted to have some fun with Grant while also getting to know him better. So she had some marshmallows with her and decided that they would each stuff a marshmallow in their mouth and say funny bunny, and then see who could stuff the most marshmallows in their mouth while saying so. Grant was able to have a fun time with her. Like we said last week, he's a big kid, which he expressed when he was on his date with Alex. So he clearly enjoyed stuffing marshmallows in his mouth with Parisa. Then back at the setting with the girls, Zoe kind of let them know that she was feeling away, like she didn't really feel like she was in her element or she didn't really stand out to them. Of course, they remembered though how last week Zoe is the one who stole Grant when they were supposed to be doing slam dunks. She took time away from them. So they didn't really feel too bad for her. Although she was upset, they were more so like, Zoe, please don't make tonight all about you, which she low-key kind of did, but we're going to talk about it in a second, okay? Zoe also heard one of the girls saying how her dress was the shortest dress they've ever seen, and she decided, you know what, I'm going to tell Grant about this, and she did just that. So Zoe, while she was speaking with Grant, she did let him know, like, she's hearing the other girls kind of talking mess about her. He let her know, if people are mad at you being yourself, oh well, don't let that change you. It seems as though he's feeling Zoe a little bit. I still don't think Zoe's gonna be the final one, because she does seem a little like, I don't want to say negative. So if you guys find a better word and you guys have been watching the actual episodes, let me know in the comments below. But she just seems a little like, I don't know if it's high maintenance, princessy, whatever it is. I don't think she's going to be the final girl. But he's feeling her for now, so she's sticking around. Juliana is the next one to speak with Grant. She asked to get to know him some more. Of course, this is all their chance to kind of get in where they fit in. They talked about their love for animals. She says she feels seen by him. And of course, they share a kiss, just like Grant shares kisses with almost everyone. Sorry, Grant. No shade if you're watching. When it was time for Grant to give out the group date rose, he let everyone know he wanted to give the rose to someone he can see himself having fun with, laughing and joking with, which ultimately he ended up giving the group date rose to Parisa, Marshmallow Funny Bunny Girl. He also let the ladies know that he's heard there's been some belittling amongst the group, aka Zoe. So the girls were kind of confused. Like, they haven't really been talking mess about her, but I guess they weren't responding to her in the way that she felt she wanted to be responded to. So yeah, once Grant left, the girls kind of were like, okay, did anyone say anything to him? Like, where is this even coming from? No one said anything. It was crickets. So someone said, you know what, Zoe, let me just ask you directly because we can't think of anyone else. And she didn't really confess to it, but ultimately she did start telling the girls like they're mean and they're not kind. And yeah, the next day, even Alex, who was on the group date, she kind of was really visibly upset and crying because she's like, how could anyone let him know that we're being mean or whatever? Because they weren't really being mean to her. So Zoe's just completely in her feelings. Next up was the first one-on-one date with Carolina, and she showed up. Grant was at a private jet. They took a private jet to Vegas, which I feel like this is a normal date once per season for The Bachelor. So yeah, they ended up taking pictures and having some fun on the plane. While they were in Vegas, Grant let them know they would be jumping off of an 800-foot building. So shout out to Carolina girl, because you are a trooper. I would have been like, I'll watch you and cheer you on, but I'll be meeting you down here. Like, when you land, I'm gonna meet you down here. But Carolina put on her brave face and Grant did too, and they each took turns jumping off the building. That was basically their date. I mean, which was enough. They took a PJ, they jumped off of a building. Like, what else could you ask for? But of course, in true Bachelor fashion, they ended the night at dinner. They went to, I think, Dre's Beach Club, nightclub, lounge, restaurant, whatever. And Carolina was able to open up with him and let him know when she was young, she started having like tremors and things like that. So a little bit older, she ended up getting diagnosed with epilepsy, and she just wants to lay that out there to see like how he feels about that, because she feels people have turned their back on her before once they found out that she has epilepsy, and she didn't want to go along further, and then that later turned out to be an issue for him. When it comes to her diagnosis, he let her know that he's not going to run away from her for that. He did say he's starting to get feelings for her. They also, during their date, talked about how they wanted a family, which we know that is something that Grant expressed early on. So I know this is still episode 3, so this is still considered early as well. But yeah, they basically continue with their conversation. He let her know that he is not running from her condition, and he ended up giving her a rose. Next up was supposed to be his final date for this episode, which would have been the one-on-one date with Beverly. However, Beverly ended up getting sick, and the girls were told that she won't be coming back. I'm not sure what type of sickness she had, but girl, I hope you are feeling better. And maybe she could come back on another season. So since he couldn't go on the one-on-one with Beverly, he ended up taking 3 of the ladies. He took Serafina, Dina, and Latia, and he said that those are 3 of the girls who stood out to him on their earlier group date at the finance place. So they were able to have some fun with him at Vanderpump Dogs, which is Lisa Vanderpump's place, of course. And so yeah, they ended up grooming the dogs, walking the dogs. They had photo shoots with the dogs. It was a cute little date if you're into dogs, okay? He ended up choosing Latia to spend the rest of the night with for dinner, and I think him and Latia have a pretty good connection. So I wasn't surprised to see him choose her. I also wouldn't have been surprised if he chose Dina, but I am glad he chose Latia. So Grant and Latia had dinner at City Hall. They talked about their upbringing, how things were for them growing up. Grant again brought up how his dad had his addiction and the addiction he had, and his dad used to always kind of say things that made him side eye his mom, but later he realized like his mom is the one who held down the fort. And Grant did mention his mom didn't really show a lot of love while he was growing up to him. But that's one reason why he's excited to start a family on his own, to show the love that he didn't feel while also still being a supportive, hold down the fort type of person. Latia then went on to talk about how her dad passed away when she was super young, but she has a super supportive family and great support system. She did also mention how she really misses her mom, and Grant was able to, allow her to FaceTime her mom, which was really sweet. So, he met her mom early on. I'm sure the other girls would have felt away, like, dang girl, like, one, you get to see your mom or your support system, and they got to meet Grant. But that was really sweet and thoughtful of him to allow her to call her mom. Grant let Latia know that he is starting to develop feelings for her, and he appreciates the way she makes him feel. So, of course, Latia got the rose for the night, which means she'll be sticking around another week. I think she's going to make it pretty far. So, he also mentioned that after their date, he could see Latia being his wife. So, we're going to see. Back at the house, Carolina was letting the girls know, like, she was upset. She was in her own feelings, okay? And she did let them know she kind of wished that she wasn't chosen on the one-on-one date, and the girls were kind of looking at her like, girl, is you cool type of thing. But I guess she wants to be the only one that gets noticed by Grant, and that's just not how this works. So she has to chill. Carolina was also crying, and she said that Rose told her while Grant and Carolina were dancing on stage during the group date last week, that Grant told Rose he was thinking about her. So, of course, that would make her feel away as well. Grant also mentioned that he did not go to prom growing up because he was so invested in basketball. So, for the cocktail hour, he decided to make it a prom theme. He ended up bringing in 4 of the guys from the Golden Bachelorette, which those guys were fun. If you watched their season, that was a fun little vibe to see these older men kind of just letting their hair down and have a fun time. So those guys joined them for the cocktail party / prom. Dina asked Grant if he would, be her prom date in return, because she thought it was really nice for him to ask them. But she, was like, you asked me, let me ask you too. Zoe asked him to have a first dance with her. Everyone basically just seemed to be having a fun time except for Carolina, who was really in her feelings. So Carolina said maybe she doesn't mean anything to this guy. She ended up pulling him for a chat and letting her know what Rose said. Grant kind of had a little, what are you talking about face, which I don't know. Low key, I feel like he did say it just based on the expression he gave, but whatever. So he went and talked to Rose, and Rose was like, well, I really thought you said that, but she expressed she wasn't really trying to cause drama. Her and Carolina were just having a conversation in their room, like on the floor, talking, sharing notes or something like that, which I thought was weird, because whatever your personal connection is with your boyfriend, I don't think you should be sharing it with another one of his girlfriends. Rose did apologize to Grant for any confusion she may have caused. He got up and left. So she did say, that she wasn't expecting Carolina to bring it up to Grant. But I feel like if you say something that makes someone feel away, don't be surprised if they go directly to the person who is being accused of making the feelings arise. You know what I'm saying? The girls, though, the other girls, they did start to feel away, because they're like, Carolina, you already have a rose. Why are you pulling Grant for a chat? Which they thought was pretty selfish. At the rose ceremony, Zoe ended up getting the first rose. Rose ended up getting the last rose, and there were 3 girls that went home: Allie, Joe, Chloe, and Bailey. So that is the recap of episode 3. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys are tuning in, who your top 2 are, who you think will make it to the finale. As of now, I'm thinking Alex and Latia, but something about Dina still stands out to me. So I don't know, because he also likes Parisa. Okay, well, those are my top 4 for now. So we gonna see. But thanks for watching, and until next time.